So the Nimitz had 2 crashes within a half hour, which is
wild,
unprecedented in my world. The Navy is now probing fuel supply after Trump points to bad fuel. Because they asked President Trump, hey, what do you think? But hey, on Sunday, 2:45 p.m., MH-60R Sea Hawk assigned to the Battle Cats, not the Tomcats, were and an A-18F, so 2-seater, from the Fighting Red Cocks of Strike Fighter Squadron 22 also crashed. All crew from both aircraft were safely recovered, thankfully, very thankfully. We asked if there could be a foul play. Trump told reporters it could be bad fuel. I mean, it's possible it's bad fuel. Very unusual that would happen. They think it might be bad fuel. We'll find out. Nothing to hide. 2 sources familiar with the initial Navy investigation confirmed Trump's comments and said that contaminated fuel in the aircraft was a leading suspect in both crashes, or saying the initial reports were far from the final word. Complete investigation of the crashes could take months or years, as we found out when trying to find other mishap board reports. The Super Hornet and Sea Hawk operate with JP-5, Navy's at-sea jet fuel, which is stored and pumped from the tanks aboard the Nimitz and resupplied from Military Sea Lift Command fleet oilers. Those oilers are in turn resupplied from the Pentagon-approved fuel sources. Go up, Doug. I just want to clarify where this happened. This was in the South China Sea with USS Nimitz CVN-68, which is right around the time the president's in the region. So that's what we know. Gonky, our resident seafaring expert, please weigh in.
My first question is, where is the Gettysburg?
Oh, man, that was going to be my thing.
Too soon? Yeah, no, not really.
Soon. The Gettysburg was not available for comment.
So when I first heard that, what I actually thought was kind of from an old, I don't know if it was a sea story or a true story, but I was told in water survival class that there was I think it was a Tomcat or an F4 that crashed, and the guys are floating in the water, and the helicopter comes, picks them up, and on the way back to the ship, the helicopter crashes, and then the second helicopter rolls up, and the F4 guys are like, no, we're way on the ship. So in my mind, I thought that maybe the SH-60 was on its way to rescue the Hornet.
Dude, didn't that happen off the coast of California, where the guy was the survivor?
That was in training
of a training exercise, and the helicopter crashes, and he had to, because they tell that story when you go to Swim Fizz, which is water survival training for the Navy, where they make you do the helo dunker, and I'm like, why do I have to do the helo dunker? This is stupid.
Yeah, so he was actually he was in IP with me. Great dude. And his account of the story is basically, he was the downed aviator simulated, him and I forget who, Wizzo, and picked him up, and they're flying back at night. And he said they're just sitting there fat, dumb, and happy. And all of a sudden the doors open and there's commotion, and they're just sitting there smiling, and it just hits the water, flips upside down, and sinks. He's like, it was wild, and he almost died. He almost drowned because he lost his reference. And he swam around inside there. He was underwater for like over a minute, something like that.
Worst nightmare.
Yeah, but I guess getting back to the Nimitz, then I started reading, and I saw where it was actually the SH-60 that crashed first.
Oh.
And yeah. So the 60 crashed. 30 minutes later, the Super Hornet crashed. Either way, that has to be a very confusing time on a carrier.
Absolutely.
Because I've been on a carrier where we have had crashes, and I can't imagine, because everybody is kind of like glommed off on that, right? All the resources, the SAR helos out there, and everybody's getting ready. Flight ops is shut down, or they're doing whatever they got to do to get the guys and gals back on board safely that are involved. And then I can imagine 30 minutes later, like, picking up the phone, it's like, hey, we got another crash. Like, what? What? So that had to be a very stressful time. And it is odd, that you have 2 in a row, but I'd be interested in the contaminated fuel story, because the way carrier ops work, it's cyclic, generally speaking. And even if you're doing carrier qual, which is what I mean by cyclic is you launch a bunch of airplanes, and anytime there's an airplane flying, there's a rescue helicopter flying, at least one, maybe sometimes two. Then, when everybody starts to get low on gas, they all land. That'd be one cycle. And then, the next set of crews, they swap in the aircraft and go. So that'd be like the second cycle. So clearly there was a flying evolution going on. And I suspect there's more than just this 160 and one Super Hornet airborne. So I'm curious about the whole contaminated fuel, if maybe other aircraft were affected but managed to recover safely. That'd be pretty wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I just skimming through that article, the other eyebrow raiser for me is I didn't realize that Nimitz class carrier could carry 3 million gallons of aviation fuel. That's a lot of gas. But yeah, that's wild, man. I as like I said, as a carrier pilot, if there's some commonality that's affecting like the fuel, that's going to affect a lot more aircraft. And I know there's more than just 2 airplanes flying.
Yeah. That's, first of all, you stole my joke, because I was going to say the Gettysburg, and then you took that from me.
You had the floor, dude. Listen.
No, but I was being polite.
Well,
and the thing you talked about the confusion is something that I think most people don't understand necessarily if they haven't been there, because when something happens, and it happens, whether it's emergency aircraft or a downed aircraft, it's a flood of information because everybody wants to report it. Phones are ringing, from low level to high level and back. And what I could easily see happening is they get the two confused and they go, no, it's not a helicopter, it's a jet. No, you mean a jet crash? No, it was a helicopter. Or helicopter? No. And they missed that it was 2. My question to you is, was this the rescue helicopter, do you think? And so, because you said during the ops, there's one that's out there, right? So who rescues them? How many helicopters do they have?
Oh, that's a good question. Oh, I mean, there's more than one.
I mean, they're going to have to launch another helicopter, right? And go, hey, we got a helicopter down. And I mean, that poor skipper, just out there going, what? In 30 minutes? Like, what?
Right. Yeah, you bring up a good, I mean, that probably was the plane guard helicopter, which is the primary, search and rescue helicopter for recovering and launching aircraft around the carrier. But usually they hang out within view of the carrier because the air boss kind of likes to know, where the rescue helo is, and they kind of have their own area. And sometimes they'll get tasking to go out and check something out. But yeah, it's wild, man. I can't remember exactly how many helicopters they have on the boat, but yeah, I mean, they got to get another one going.
Well, the other ships do too, right? They're not.
They do
by themselves. So the other
it depends. So a lot of your support ships, sometimes you'll be in other parts of the sea space. They don't always have to be around, like within visual of the carrier. Although, they might be 50 miles away or so, but yeah, they could launch another rescue or another helicopter from another ship. But generally speaking, plane guard is handled by the carrier that's launching the airplanes.
So a lot of people, as soon as this comes out, the first thing they ask, South China Sea, is China testing a weapon? And I will say that is incredibly unlikely in these scenarios because, number one, it only affected 2 aircraft, right? I mean, you've got more than just 2 aircraft flying at any given time. So it would have been only affecting those 2 aircraft. Helicopters don't go real far away. So it would have been something very close to the ship, which makes it even less likely because it would have affected the aircraft carrier as well. And also the type of weapon that would take to actually take down an aircraft, because everything's shielded and we have so many redundant systems that you can still at least fly the thing. Unless it's like an overt hostile act where it's a surface to air missile, in which case that's an act of war. And, we're not talking about people surviving and bad gas and stuff like that. We're talking about declaration of war. So I'm not going to say it's impossible, but I'm going to say it's unlikely. And I know some conspiracy theorist people will say, well, you're just covering up or whatever. But we like to take the most realistic approach on the Mover and Gonky show. And contaminated fuel is an option. I agree with you, Gonky, that it's weird, to affect two unrelated, because I could see a two ship of Hornets, right? Like if they launch together, two ship of Hornets, but you're talking separate. I mean, that's a tough one, man. That's an interesting, I'd be curious to see. Now, is that out of the realm of possibility? No, because we just talked about an F-35 that had water and hydraulic fluid and it froze. Like, we're in a world of weird things happening lately in aviation, or the Gettysburg shooting our own plane down. Like, at this point, who knows?
Yeah, and so when you're refueling airplanes on the carrier, you just see hoses come out of like wherever. So I mean, maybe, I don't know, maybe the Super Hornet and the 60 both got fuel from one tank on the Nimitz. Maybe that one tank is contaminated. That might be because it's 5 acres out there. They got airplanes kind of scattered all over. They keep the landing area clear. So I'm sure there's several tanks throughout the length of the ship. Because I mean, the propulsors just grab a hose and just start running, and they're not going to run from the front to the back, right, from the same tank. So I don't know. It's weird, man. It'll be interesting to see if the fuel thing plays out. I think it's going to be even weirder if it was just a coincidence. I mean,
yeah. And that wouldn't be the first time in aviation where it's just like, wow, it just worked out that way. But man, naval aviation has had a year.
Yeah.
Good grief.
Yeah. There's been a half a dozen Super Hornets lost, right?
Yeah.
You shot down a couple and threw a couple off into the water. And yeah, if you throw the Growler in there, they've lost 2 Growlers this year too, on top of that. So yeah, you're right. It's been a bit of a past 12 months.